Welcome back to the Intel Masters here in Taipei. It's the final tour stop of Season 9 for the Intel Masters. We get ready to head into the World Championship in Poland in March. The last chance for 2 players to qualify to play there. And well, a $25,000 tournament at the very start right now as we're in the open bracket, getting ready for a couple of players to qualify into group play, which starts tomorrow. Snute's first game has gone well so far. He's at 1-0 here against Daisy, looking to advance onto the next stage, the next round of the open bracket. But can the local Korean Taiwanese player here, should I say Korean player playing in Taiwan, play to the level of Snute here and hopefully tie this one up?
It's okay, Apollo, we all understood.
Yeah, you know what I meant, yes. But I had to make sure that everyone knew what I meant. All right, game 2 is ready. Let's jump right into this. Very excited to see how this one's going to play out here. Are we going to see a 2-0 from Snute? Or can Daisy pull it back up here? To the top left is that red player playing for Team Liquid. It's Snute. And then down to the bottom left-hand side is the blue Protoss player. It's Daisy, who stayed to his true style of aggressive tendencies. Cannon rush into a 7-gate +1 attack follow-up. But game 2.
And by the look of things, it's going to be a Forge opener here again, most likely. He's scouting right after the pylon, which is something we don't really see all that often anymore. It used to be back in the Daybreak days, you know, when you would always open Forge and always scout right after your pylon to see what was up with your opponent. But nowadays, people really only scout maybe after they start a Forge or something. So I'm not sure why exactly he's doing that, especially against somebody like Snute, who rarely ever cheeses or does an early pull. Why does he want to know exactly why he's up against?
Probe goes into the main base here, and he sees an Extractor very early on, so Snute definitely having some very early intentions.
Yeah.
An Extractor taken this early on only really means one thing, that he was going to go for an Extractor, followed by Spawn and Pull into Zergling speed to look to get some damage done. It's something that Snute's actually been using a lot on his stream recently, and actually loves using it, but not today, as Daisy did spot that with his early scout.
I guess that this may have been what he was looking for, and where is Snute's second Overlord going, actually? It's a bit confusing. Where are you going? He should know by now where Daisy is. I mean, this was a very, very quick scout. So I guess maybe he wants to see when and where through that probe lives is natural, or even, like, you know, around the third base for sure. And Daisy, even though he went for Nexus first here, I guess since he saw the timing on the spawning pool, he doesn't want to be bothered by any kind of Zerglings, and since he also had his first pylon at the, I guess, not the ramp, but you know, that area around the natural, he still went for Forge. So he was kind of forced into that. That means that Snute, as opposed to usually, you know, when you would play against a gateway, he's going to be able to drone up a lot more.
Well, Snute already starting his 2015 WCS campaign well. He's already managed to gather himself 400 points. San Jose offered him points last year. And of course, qualifying into Premier League and now playing at this tournament as well. Hopefully looking to grab some more. It was close in the runnings for last year's BlizzCon top 16 placement, but unfortunately towards the end couldn't quite make it.
It's actually the saddest thing when you're like so few points away from qualifying for basically the most important tournaments. Lots of, I think it was $5,000, right? If you just qualified, yes. So. Yeah. But he didn't take it too badly. He didn't complain or anything. He just said, well, could have done better and I'll do better next year. And I guess that's what we're seeing so far here out of him, because he's played pretty well.
Yeah, Snute had a lot of slip-ups through the Premier League last year, which cost him hundreds and hundreds of points. This year, I'm pretty sure it's going to be very different, and he will be campaigning to be able to play at BlizzCon at the end of the year. But here we do have the 2 builds starting to shape up now. Third hatchery taken pretty fast here from Snute, who, upon realizing this is just a regular fast Nexus here from Daisy, no early pressure coming out. Snute's just going to drone, and scout to figure out what the tech choice will be from Daisy as this Cybernetics core nears completion.
I hate this position, man. When there is an Overlord above my Cybercore and open Forge, and I know the Zerg is only making drones, and there is nothing I can do about it. This is just the worst. Like, Daisy has to be feeling a little bit uncomfortable already in this game.
And these positions as well, you know, Snute favoring these positions. If they weren't these, obviously Swarmhole's a little bit more difficult to play out, but in these positions, a straight pathway to the Protoss third base is created from north to south here. Nice and easy for Snute to get his creep spread going, his Hydralisk attacks, his potential Swarmhole's play.
Yeah. One thing that I've seen and experienced against players like Snute, who are very good at Swarmos, but also at other styles of play, is that you're so focused on already in your head countering the potential Swarmos that could come out that you play very differently. And they will be ready to punish that. Like if you choose to be greedy because you think your opponent's going to go into Swarmos and play passive, and they realize that, somebody like Snute, he just goes across the map with hydralisks and kills you right off. So Daisy has to be very careful not to do any missteps in regards to that.
Well, Snute knows about the +1 attack being researched here from Daisy. Also has a unit / overlord around the third base of his opponent as well to see if a Nexus is going to be taken or not. That will poke in shortly. Zergling speed has been researched. You'd guess that he would want to throw down a Roach Warren upon seeing this +1 attack, and then that Roach Warren does come down. Another safety precaution taken here by Snute.
He saw the third Nexus, which is definitely nice, but the thing is, you can't be sure your opponent's not going to be aggressive, even if you see that third Nexus. So he should be careful and keep on scouting, definitely.
Oh, a drone was moving down there to go look at a
that's fake.
base here.
That's cute, with the pylon.
Oh, one drone down, another one being targeted. No units out for Snute right now. He's caught off guard by the Skeleton Stalker, not expecting them to be on the other side of the map. And 4 walkers have gone down as 12 Zerglings still just on their way. A couple of Queens do come down and push this off, but a very successful jab with those 2 units. A single Zealot manages to get
Oh my god, and Snute made 12 Zerglings and now 9 Roaches. This one pylon, man. This one pylon alone, with those units forced all of that instead of drones. It's only 1 gate.
This can work 2 ways here, because yes, it can be good for defending, but does Daisy have enough to defend a flood of units that comes down to this third base?
With the wall off and the cannons he's getting, plus the photon overcharge, I really think he shouldn't take any damage if he manages it well. But then again, you should never underestimate the Roach.
All right, there's 12 additional Zerglings. Snute is committing to this. He's got a 4th hatchery down and layer now just starting, but he's built a lot of units before any of those are going to be used himself. And now Daisy adding on a lot of extra gateways here. Is he going to be able to make the hold? If he makes his hold, he's going to find himself in a wonderful position to move into the mid-game as he can start +2, start his blink.
He's going to spot the units with the Mothership Core.
And now Photon Overcharge must be activated. It is activated. Where are these units coming around to the natural here?
Is he going for the forge?
Fields. He's going to lock these units out. Another one preventing that right-hand side from being opening.
And powers the forge. Doesn't choose to go for it. And yes, Snute is not going to do much here, as I thought. Or at least so far.
Yeah, 2 cannons and a 3rd one on the way as well. This is going to be pushed back.
2 cannons, walled off, plus a photon overcharge. He could have held 100 supply of army here, Apollo.
Very good there for Daisy. His +2 attack is slowed down, but that was a lot of units that could have been drones at that point, and Snute already could have been looking at his Hydralisk production by now.
Especially gas-wise. Like mineral-wise, it's not really a problem, but gas-wise, Snute was only on 2 gases up to the 10th minute of this game. So now all of a sudden, he's starting triple extractor, and he's gonna need a lot of gas to be able to tech and basically follow this up with good upgrades and good transitions. Whereas for Daisy, he's sitting pretty in this game with the blink and +2 already on the way.
Yep. All because Snute committed to that attack, and Snute has chosen not to get the Hydralisk Den and not to get the Infestation Pit, but to get a 2nd Evolution Chamber and to continue his Roach upgrades. We're going to see a very heavy, by the looks of it at this moment, Roach play coming out here from Snute.
You think Tunneling Klaus might be in the books here?
Definitely could be.
With the force already up here for Snute and 4 hatcheries that he can inject from, he's going to have a big production capability. And I mean, with all that happened and him opening with that many units instead of drones, he's still on 146 army supply, overall supply at 11 minutes 30, which is nice.
I think Snute may be feeling a little bit uncomfortable to tech up, knowing that a possible +2 and blink attack could be on its way and going to be very difficult to deal with higher tech, but maybe easier with just a lot of Roaches. But the Hydro Stand has been placed down a little bit later on, but still, a lot of Roaches being built now. Will these be enough to better push back the inevitable attack that's going to come out from Daisy? Ling set up on the left-hand side for a counter-attack. Roaches in the middle that are just going to finish up with a +1 attack. Carapace a little bit further away.
Daisy has to be feeling confident here. He saw the Hydralisk Den halfway through down with the hallucinated Phoenix he sent across the map. And Snute, even though he's trying to go for a surround here, there should be enough force fields for Daisy to hold this comfortably.
Well, the Link's going to wrap around on a left-hand side. Some of these Stalkers, and a couple of them go down very easy. A lot more Stalkers being warped in. Only Blink's just started now. All the sentries exposed at the front, and pretty much all but 2 get taken down.
And this is why you don't get too, I guess, too confident with the force fields. And you should always force fields on time and drop just a few units. I guess in the end he holds, but he's lost all of his sentries. It's going to be so hard for him to fight against Hydralisks without Guardian Shields.
And Daisy has a probe and pylon in the center of the map along with a Warp Prism too, and he's going to push this little advantage that he took after winning that fight despite losing all those sentries. But a lot of Hydralisks are on the way now. Range not upgraded, but again, there are no sentries to push these back.
27 Stalkers, Apollo, against 25 Roaches and only 5 Hydralisks right now. Snute needs a lot more than this. Especially the Concave is pretty bad.
Yeah,
a lot of Roaches are not attacking.
Not attacking, and likewise a lot of these Stalkers are attacking here. Drones get pulled off the line here for Snute to hopefully defend. Is he going to be able to make this defense here? 4 Hydralisks, 5 Hydralisks at the back there, dealing out a lot of damage, and Drones are tanking a lot. And the Warp Prism gets pushed back. It cannot warp in any more units, and Snute does push this back. A lot of these Stalkers very low, but in sacrifice of 24 drones there.
But it was necessary. It was definitely necessary. If he hadn't pulled that, he would have lost the game right there and there. Now he gets to basically have another chance at droning back up and coming back in this game. He basically saved a lot of his army too, because the drones were the units that were dying here. So Snute, definitely a great reaction. Yeah. And Daisy, he could have kited better and pulled back. When you see this many drones, you don't have to fight. You usually just kite, pull back, blink back. But now he was fighting head-on and just trying to basically blink back, just standing in place.
Well, the drones have been replenished almost here with the last wave coming in, and now units will start again. Daisy's not letting this one go. He's going to go in for another attack. Warp Prism will be dropping Zealots into the main base. And then a frontal attack from Stalkers and Sentries will try to pick off that 4th and then fall back onto the 4th Nexus of his own. It looks like we do have a barcode crash. I wonder who that could be.
I wonder as well, Apollo.
Might be you.
No.
All right, so we'll have to wait for the countdown of this before we continue on now, before the next set of attacks come in for Daisy. But if he's able to successfully pull off what he's looking to do now, he will find himself in good position. It's just, will Snute be able to defend the Warp Prism inside the main base and also not lose his hatchery or lose position in the front too?
I don't think he had a well-placed Overlord to see that Warp Prism coming, so it may be a problem. Like especially if Daisy times it well, he engages at the same time as the Warp Prism starts dropping. It's so hard for Snute to ungroup a few units, send them to the main to defend, and at the same time manage the fight at his front door. Yeah. Especially when Daisy, he has basically so much capability to move around very easily, even blink back, like if he's in trouble, just escape instantly. So yeah, tricky situation, but both players are basically one misstep away from basically possibly losing. Even Daisy here. Yeah. If he overextends just one little bit, Snute will punish.
I guess it all depends on if Snute can see this coming, because this is a big play that's about to happen here coming out from Daisy. If it works, it's going to look great. If it doesn't, then the next push coming out, because he's decided to add on more units rather than taking up to the Colossus and the additional units that he could get from his higher tech, this could go wrong. So let's find out. No Overlord on that left-hand side, as you pointed out. So this is going to come surprise, and also the main base very exposed because there's no vision here for Snute on the corner of it.
If he reacts quickly, just like pulse of drones, and also like, look, Daisy is not attacking at the same time at the front step of Snute. He might follow this up with the attack at the front, but Snute right now should already have split enough Roaches to send into the main to defend. And actually, he sends Hydralisks.
Okay, sends Hydralisks, and the Queens and Drones going to go in now. Here comes the frontal attack from Daisy. Snute anticipating this double type of play, and he's ready for it outside the front, and will push his back.
Chase. Okay, he's going to lose a lot of Zerglings and not kill anything here. He chased a little bit too far here. This line of force kills was pretty obvious. He should have baited it.
But this wasn't a success here for Daisy. He didn't get critical amounts of damage done. He killed off 6 drones, but Snute dealt with this very, very well. And now the next part of this is going to come in. Can Daisy continue to force hold? Can he continue to fight and trade off well against the inevitable amount of swarm that we're seeing coming out from Snute?
Only one Guardian Shield here for Daisy. He needs more than that. He needs to blink back. He needs to reinforce with more Stalkers. Snute is on the chase.
He's on the chase, and there's a lot of Zerglings coming from the back here as well to push this back, and the front pylon goes down, additional Warpins, and Daisy does not have enough units to be able to deal with this attack. He's losing all his sentries and his Stalkers, and now he falls back to a Nexus, which is very exposed out in the open. 2-2 upgrades kicking in for Snute as this attack pushes it all the way back. And now the 4th base from Daisy completely exposed. He does not have Colossus. It's now Stalkers versus Hydras, and the Hydra count is high enough to deal with these Blink Stalkers, and Snute pushes his back. And unfortunately, the play that Daisy tried to make work did not. And now Snute looking at a 2-0 against Daisy here, trying to make that Warp Prism work to try to salvage the situation.
He has a lot of money, actually. How many gates does he have? I thought he had like 8. This should have been enough for him to keep... Yeah, he has 8 gates. I guess he stopped macroing while he was microing. he stopped making units for the longest time. Now he should chrono boost out of his gateways to try and squeeze out more. But I mean, Snute is basically maxed out with Vipers against no Templar Archive inside.
Yeah.
He's gonna lose the War Prism as well. Daisy, I feel like, you know, I don't like to be overly critical of players when I commentate or just in general.
Yeah.
But I feel like he did a lot of things well, but force fields were definitely not one of those. Like, he messed up a lot. He let a lot of those units of Snute through many, many times, and I do think it's gonna cost him the game here. With much better force fields, he would have won very convincingly in this one.
Snute didn't kill off the Nexus, but he didn't want to waste any of his Hydralisk in doing so, as he's preparing another assault to finish the game. Vipers coming in, remaxing out with the Hydralisk count being super high here, and still no higher tech coming out from Daisy. 4 extra gateways and Zealot's Charge are the 2 weapons that he's going to try to use to be able to defend this, but we know that that is going to be very difficult to make work here. Force fields have been replenished. Snute getting ready to attack in.
Even with perfect sets of force fields here, there should just be too much for Snute, who moves very nicely, by the way, to the right-hand side. How do you force fields against these? There's even some Viper in there.
Yeah, can come in and put down a Blinding Cloud, and then just kind of keep these Stalkers trapped, and they are trapped, and the Hydra's going to do critical amounts of damage, and Snute should not mess this one up, and he should be taking this 2-0 here as Daisy drops rapidly below 100 supply. And this looks like this is in the bag here for the Team Liquid player. So much for Swarmost and late game. Great prediction, Todd. Not today. Snute saving that for another Protoss player on another day. Hero. Very potential. Very, very possible here. But Snute is going to break it. He's finally broken that 4th. He's going to come up here and break this 3rd base. And Daisy stuck. And he's going to lose his first match here at the Intel Masters. And Snute starting well, looking to see if he can continue to do well here. Formerly has played in 3 of the other Intel Masters, achieving a top 8 at each time. And the one time he played in the open bracket, he was able to qualify, and he's looking to do the same again today. Whereas his next opponents will be determined very shortly. GG is called, and Snute moves on to round 2 of the open bracket here. Daisy, unfortunately, falls down to the lower bracket. And he will face either Patience or Ian. If I was Patience, I don't know how I would be feeling about having to play a guy who just played very nicely, I guess, against Daisy. He looked to be in trouble, I guess, at some point in the second game, but recovered very nicely. Yeah. That drone pull, man, what the hell? The drone pull, very good crisis management, very good nerves here. He did. He did. And they did very well for him. And he was able to hold on, and then great play with the Warp Prism as well. Great defense against that, and he was able to be picking on that series 2-0. All right, well, we'll be moving on to match number 3 very shortly when we find out what that will be. So we'll be back here in a couple of moments here at the Intel Masters.